Hello, little dreamers, and welcome to our story time. Tonight, let's travel to a quiet hillside where a young shepherd boy watched over his village's sheep. Day after day, he grew so bored. One afternoon, he had a mischievous idea. He decided to play a trick. "Wolf! Wolf!" he shouted. The kind villagers rushed to help, but found no wolf. The boy just laughed. A few days later, he did it again. "Wolf! Wolf!" he cried. Again, the villagers came, and again, they were fooled. They were not happy. Then, one evening, a real wolf appeared. "Terrified!" the boy screamed. "Wolf! Wolf! Please, help!" But this time, no one believed him. They thought it was just another trick. The boy learned a hard lesson that day. When you tell lies, no one will believe you, even when you're telling the truth. Thanks for listening. Sweet dreams. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories. Hello, little dreamers, and welcome to another bedtime story. Snuggle up, get cozy, and let's travel to a faraway land of rolling green hills. Once upon a time, in a peaceful little village, nestled at the foot of a sunny hillside, there lived a young shepherd boy. Every single day, his job was to take the village's fluffy, white sheep up the hill to graze. He'd watch them nibble on the sweet green grass from sunrise to sunset. While the sheep were happy, the boy grew incredibly bored. The days all felt the same, with nothing but the sound of bleating sheep and the rustling wind. One afternoon, a mischievous idea popped into his head. "I know," he thought. "I'll play a little trick on the villagers. It will be so funny." He took a deep breath, cupped his hands around his mouth, and shouted at the top of his lungs, "Wolf! Wolf! A wolf is attacking the sheep." Down in the village, the people heard his cries. They dropped their tools, left their homes, and grabbed whatever they could to help. They all ran up the hill, huffing and puffing, ready to chase away the big, bad wolf. But when they got to the top, they saw the boy, laughing. There was no wolf. The sheep were peacefully grazing, and the boy was simply playing a joke. The villagers were not amused. They grumbled and walked back down the hill, feeling a bit annoyed. A few days later, the boy was bored again. He thought his first trick was so successful that he decided to do it once more. "Wolf! Wolf!" he yelled, even louder this time. Once again, the kind-hearted villagers rushed to his aid, fearing the worst for their precious flock. And once again, they found the boy laughing at them. This time, however, the villagers were angry. "We won't be fooled by you again," one of them said sternly. They went back to their work, shaking their heads and muttering about the boy's foolishness. They began to lose their trust in him. Then, one quiet evening, as the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the hill, a real wolf crept silently out of the forest. Its eyes glowed in the dim light, and it began to stalk the unsuspecting sheep. The boy's heart pounded in his chest with real fear. The wolf was real. It lunged at the flock, scattering the terrified sheep in every direction. "Wolf! Wolf!" the boy screamed, his voice trembling with panic. "Please help me. There's a real wolf this time, I promise." He cried and yelled until he was hoarse, but his voice just echoed across the empty hillside. Down in the village, the people heard him, but they just sighed and shook their heads. "Oh, it's just that silly boy trying to trick us again," they said to each other, and they stayed right where they were. No one came to help. The boy was all alone. He tried his best to shoo the wolf away, but he was just one small boy against a big, strong animal. The wolf chased and scattered the flock until not a single sheep was left in the pasture. Heartbroken and ashamed, the boy sat on the grass and wept. He finally understood what he had done. When he returned to the village with the terrible news, a wise old man put a hand on his shoulder and said, "No one believes a liar, even when they are telling the truth." The boy had learned a very hard lesson. By telling lies for fun, he had lost the trust of everyone in his village, and when he desperately needed them to believe him, they couldn't. And so, the moral of our story tonight is that honesty is one of the most valuable things we can have. Trust is like a fragile vase. Once it's broken, it's very difficult to put back together. Always remember to be truthful, and people will believe you when it matters most. Thank you for listening, my sweet friends. Now, close your eyes and drift off to sleep. If you enjoyed our story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more bedtime adventures. Sweet dreams. Hello, little dreamers, and welcome to our cozy story corner. Tonight, we're going to journey to a sunny hillside where a young shepherd boy lived. Are you ready? Let's begin. Once upon a time, in a peaceful village, nestled by a green hill, lived a young shepherd boy. Every single day, from sunrise to sunset, his job was to watch over the village's flock of fluffy, white sheep. He'd watch them munch on the sweet green grass and listen to the gentle breeze rustle through the leaves. But day after day, it was the same thing. The sheep nibbled, the sun shone, and the boy grew incredibly bored. He longed for some excitement. One afternoon, a mischievous idea popped into his head. What if I played a little trick? He thought with a grin. He took a deep breath and shouted as loudly as he could, "Wolf! Wolf! A wolf is attacking the sheep." Hearing his panicked cries, the kind villagers dropped everything they were doing. The baker left his bread, the blacksmith dropped his hammer, and they all raced up the hill, ready to help. But when they arrived, breathless and worried, they found the boy laughing. There was no wolf, not even a paw print. The sheep were peacefully grazing. I was just joking. The boy giggled. The villagers weren't amused, but they sighed and went back down the hill. A few days passed, and the boy's boredom returned. I'll do it again, he decided. It was so funny last time. Once more, he kept his hands around his mouth and yelled, "Wolf, wolf, help, the wolf is here." And once more, the good-hearted villagers rushed to his aid. When they found him laughing at them again, their patience wore thin. "This is not a game," one of them said sternly. "If you keep lying, we won't be able to trust you." The boy just shrugged, not understanding the weight of their words. He thought it was all just a harmless prank. Then, one evening, as the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the hill, something stirred in the edge of the forest. A pair of yellow eyes gleamed in the twilight. It was a real wolf, large and hungry, and it crept silently towards the unsuspecting flock. The boy's heart leaped into his throat. This was no joke. This was real danger. Terrified, he scrambled to his feet and screamed with all his might. "Wolf! Wolf! Please, help me! A real wolf is here. It's attacking the sheep." His voice was filled with genuine fear. But down in the village, no one moved. "Oh, that's just the shepherd boy trying to trick us again," they said to each other, shaking their heads. "We won't fall for his lies a third time." They continued with their evening chores, ignoring his desperate pleas for help. Up on the hill, the boy was all alone. He watched in horror as the wolf scattered his flock, chasing the terrified sheep into the woods. The boy cried and shouted, but no one came. By the time the wolf had gone, the flock was gone with it, and the boy was left sitting alone on the quiet, empty hillside. As tears streamed down his face, the shepherd boy finally understood. He had told so many lies that when he finally told the truth, no one believed him. He had lost something far more valuable than his sheep that day. He had lost the trust of his entire village. The sad lesson he learned was that honesty is precious, because once trust is broken, it is incredibly hard to get back. And that's the moral of our story. No one believes a liar, even when they tell the truth. Thank you for joining me for this story. I hope it helps you drift off into sweet dreams. Remember to always be truthful and kind. If you enjoyed our story time, don't forget to subscribe for more adventures. Good night, and sleep tight.